doing out there? Welcome to a Word Hole Media presentation of Major League A-Holes. I'm MVP.
I'm Ryan, and you are in the hole with Major League A-Holes, episode 170. This is a breaking news emergency podcast that we decided we must do after the news of last night. So, fuck it. Let's go ahead and jump into that news.
Well, kudos to Buster Posey for pumping the gas and getting one Rafael Devers over to an somewhat anemic Giants offense.
Stunning.
Without really giving up much.
It's hilarious. You sent me the news, or you sent me a text.
Yeah, because I couldn't even
like
I was like
I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Like, yeah, you're an idiot.
To the Giants, like, what the fuck? And then you sent me the article, and I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, you look at the who they sent. You've got a couple of three pitchers. Yeah,
you got Jordan Hicks, who is shit this year. They got all they could out of him last year. We talked about how he was going to be mystery coming off that second elbow surgery last year. He's been terrible this year. They gave up Kyle Harrison, who could work out to be
he's 23.
Yeah. So
he's been starting for you.
Yeah. I guess the biggest prospect they gave up is this James Tibbs III. He's their number 4 prospect. And then a righty named Jose Bello.
But it's not like you gutted your system to get arguably the best left-handed power hitter who was in the American League. He's going to be. He's tops at least in our fantasy league. I haven't seen how we do in an American-only league, so I don't know how he compares to others in the National League. But my God, that changes the whole spectrum of how your offense functions.
Yeah. Even you just got to pitch to the rest of the team differently wherever he's slotted in the lineup. It just adds a whole new element that we just haven't had in a very long time.
Well, specifically, I heard him talking about that on the radio this afternoon. I think it's been since Barry Bonds that you've had a 30 home run hitter.
That is correct.
That's going on 20 years now. So yeah. Holy shit. Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, the only dig, if anything, is, all the experts say they probably should have been able to get the Red Sox to send them a little bit of money because there's $250 million left. But with what they gave up, no, they said, fuck it, we'll pay the bill. Take these guys.
They paid not to give away their best prospects. This is a total salary dump by the Red Sox. The Giants apparently are in a position where they can just absorb cash or send out cash everywhere. We were joking about the Willy Adames deal in the offseason. I thought there was another one that
the Matt
Chapman extension. Yeah,
the debate this was the first taste that Posey stepped in to get that done, and then the prior GM gets fired
Farhan Zaidi.
Yeah, Zaidi gets fired a month later, 2 weeks later or something. And then suddenly Buster Posey's announced as the, president of baseball operations and general manager. And he has just been
throwing out the cash.
Well, it's one of those situations where they have the money. I don't know what.
Yeah.
Was there different restrictions before he got there? Did he go in there and just say, listen, guys, we can forever be in the middle of the pack, but the best team in our division spends $350 million a year. If we don't make some sort of moves, we're not going to be in this, a real threat.
And I think Posey was probably in the position where he made those his demands before he took the job. We're going to spend with the rest of our division at least to be a contender. If not, I'm not interested. So he's got the clout and he could demand those things. And apparently Giants ownership is willing to spend those monies. Of course, I think most major league teams have those monies. They just choose not to spend them necessarily. But now you see the Giants stepping up. what's ironic, I guess, is the Red Sox used to be one of those teams that would spend, and
right.
All they do is they're doing over the last 5 years or so is jettisoning salary. You think about Mookie Betts, Xander Bogaerts, and now Rafael Devers. Like, they just chose to not pay those guys. They chose to release them, so they didn't have to pay them anymore. Yeah, Devers was on a 10-year, $315 million guaranteed contract. I think he had 7.5 years left on that. Puts him through his age 36 season, something like that. $255 million, I think, is what is left on it. So yeah, you just bought your way not having to give up all the prospect capital that many would have thought would be more requisite for a trade to get fucking Rafael Devers.
Yeah, I was, when the first alert came through, I'm like, what? I was like, no, because I knew what his contract was. I'm like, no, not one of my teams.
Well, and the Red Sox just got done sweeping
I know
the Yankees over the weekend. They're hated rivals, and
thanks to him too.
They're still in. Yeah. He had a home run yesterday.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Everything. You knew there was trouble in the clubhouse with Devers, and we've got a timeline we can go over,
which is pretty fucking hilarious.
I just didn't think they would pull the trigger. I didn't think they'd pull the trigger at all, actually, but that they would do it in mid-June. Like, why? I'm surprised that it's this early. I thought they might wait longer if they did decide to do that.
Yeah.
Get his services for as long as possible. But did they decide he was such a problem in the clubhouse, at least, and just a malcontent, even though he's producing on the field? I think he's got his best on base percentage ever for his career now. I think his OPS is over 900. Certainly on pace to get the 30 plus home runs.
Yeah.
So it's just shocking. And for it to be the Giants, I guess you could say there's only a few teams in a position to be able to absorb that contract. Again, I disagree with that philosophically, but the heavy hitters that have spent, can spend traditionally, there's not a huge pool of that. So maybe you guys accepted the full salary and they said, hell yeah, let's do this. So
yeah, I agree with you, the timing, and I'm excited about the timing because the Giants just played a very competitive series against the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Game 1, the Giants blew them out. Game 2, the Dodgers blew them out. And then last night, the Dodgers squeak out a 1-run victory.
But you're in second place.
Yes.
Just 2 games back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they need offense. They have very good pitching for the most part. And, this just shows the Dodgers too, like, well, okay.
Yeah. If that's a statement move.
Yeah, we can't get above this 597 winning percentage that we are at right now, which is fucking hilarious for all the money they spent. But if that's where we're gonna stay, we're probably gonna get leapt and get caught up to easily by the Dodgers, and the Padres are right behind that. So yeah, I'm excited for it. I agree. Like, does Devers? I've read like what Posey said, which is basically like just that we love his bat. The deal made sense, so we went for it.
I've got a couple questions for you, though. I don't know if these rise to the level of asshole questions, but just kind of logical questions, I think. Does this mean Matt Chapman is out for longer than we hope, at least? He's been on the IL for a couple weeks now?
Yeah.
Is Devers, do you think he's going to play third, or is that I don't know who's been playing
third
for him?
They're using like a platoon situation. That dude they picked up, not very good players. Let's just put it that way. Well, so I think Devers is definitely going to be put in there to start.
Okay. He's definitely not going to play first base because he refused to do that for the Red Sox. Or maybe he changes his mind now that he's in a new organization. He'd be willing to play first. Is that, you got Wilmer Flores playing first right now?
Yeah. I could see that happening because for him with the Red Sox, I think mentally to him it was more of a betrayal.
Yeah, he was just annoyed with everything. They asked him to DH, and he figured that out. He started out the season horribly, and then figured it out. And then they were jerking. He probably feels jerked around. They're like, "Oh, now we need you to play first." Like, fuck you, which is not being a good teammate. But I could see his position.
Yeah.
I guess the asshole question part of it is: are you worried that he's kind of a malcontent, and to the point where the Red Sox are ready to get him the fuck out of town? Is that a? I guess there's no way to know until stories come out down the road, I guess. But is that a concern of yours at all?
Not right now.
Yeah. Okay.
And I remember someone named Barry Bonds who's a malcontent too, but they seem to do okay with him.
I think he just didn't get along with the media. I don't know that he was like bad with his teammates necessarily, but maybe I'm revisionist history. I don't remember.
Yeah, him and
Jeff Kent.
Jeff Kent did not get along at all. In fact, they got into it in the dugout more than once.
So. Okay, yeah. Well, Jeff Kent's a cunt as well.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
Jeff Kent is a cunt.
Well, along the lines of the Devers situation, I mean, we could go over like what happened to get him out of Boston. Like, I think that's fascinating. It's like I saw this in an email thing I get from the wind up from the Athletic every day, a baseball specific email. They outline the entire process of what has gone on since February with Rafael Devers and the Red Sox.
All right, here we go. As we kind of, I think everyone who follows baseball would remember this, but in February, he was already annoyed, calling out the Red Sox front office for not investing money into the roster.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I do remember this next part though, which is hilarious.
Then on February 15th of 2025, a year later, the Red Sox do invest more money in the roster, signing third baseman Alex Bregman
to take his position.
The wording of this is great. This is presumably not what Devers meant.
That's exactly why I sent that to you. I thought the line was hilarious.
17th. And the 17th, we all remember this. We talked about this, actually. Mm-hmm. We covered this on the podcast. Devers like, I'm not moving off third base. So I don't know where they're putting him.
I play third.
Yeah, I play third.
He was like, he had his interpreter there for that. And it was confused. Like, he would look at his interpreter, like, why are you asking me this question? I play third base. Like, and then he finally just said it in English. I play third. Like, what are we doing?
March 13th, I actually, most people who are following this would remember this. After conversations with manager Alex Cora and chief baseball officer Craig Breslow, Devers says he is, in fact, moving off third base.
So that was less than a month later. It's done.
May 8th, about a little over a month ago, an injury happened with Tristan Casas. They asked Devers if he'd be willing to play first base. And his reply was, they can't expect me to play every single position. Adding, they put me in this situation and they told me that they didn't want to allow me to play any other position. Now I think they should just do their jobs, essentially, and hit the market and look for another player.
Wow.
I'm not sure why they want me to be in between the way they have been.
Yeah. That's a disgruntled employee. He is their highest paid employee.
Yeah.
Of course, that deal was done with a previous regime. That was Chaim Bloom, I think. Not Craig Breslow. So that's where things have changed, obviously. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think May 9th is like the red flag of why this trade happened. The Red Sox owner, John Fisher, flew to KC to meet with Devers and have a conversation. So obviously it had reached the point to where the new baseball operations department said, there's nothing we can do with him.
Yeah.
Maybe you can talk some sense into him.
That was a serious red flag for the Red Sox that day when the owner has to get on a fucking plane to Kansas City of all places to talk down your fucking star player. But yeah.
A few days later on the 12th, he ends up earning AL Player of the Week, and we all you have him, I think, on your team. You know,
I do.
He got off to a very, very rough start, and now he's like lights out.
That's actually the biggest question that I failed to ask you. How how does this affect my fantasy team?
Well, you get to keep him until you. What can you still trade him, but not? You just can't drop him because
I didn't make a. I don't know. I'm the commissioner. I didn't make a rule about that. I don't even think it allows a trade. I don't even think the ESPN allows you to trade players like that. But at least you can't dump him. I know that
you can't dump him. Once you dump him, he's gone. He just disappears like he never existed in the.
Yeah, well, I won't be trading. I don't have any plans to trade him, so I guess it's a moot point. But
well, that was just a question I had. Anyway,
well, that's a great valid question, and there was our fantasy minute.
Yes, so 30 seconds. Then everything gets kind of rosy for a second because Bregman gets injured, creating that space at third on May 23rd. Cora says the team is going to just leave Devers alone and let him be a successful DH.
Yeah.
So now they've come to the consensus. It's best just to leave him at DH. And then June 15th.
A day that will live in infamy.
Devers homers as the Red Sox sweep the Yankees. After the game, he is traded to the Giants.
Now, I heard either Holmes and Spiegel were talking about it. I don't know if this has been reported or if they were just joking about it, but it sounds like they finished the game. They were on their way to the airport, and the news breaks before they get on the plane, and they have to Uber Rafael back to Fenway to get all his shit and then go to San Francisco. So
really,
that they may have been joking, just making up that scenario, but that sounds plausible. I don't know. I mean, considering the timeline, because the game just finished.
Yeah, that's true.
If they're going on a road trip, so they'd have to jump on the plane as soon as possible. So I don't know I guess the timing could be confused. If they had made the trade before they went to the airport, they could have. I mean, another funny part of this.
Yeah, seeing as he played the game, the trade wasn't done until post game, and
he had a home run.
He helped them win a series, a sweep against the Yankees, the most hated team by the Red Sox fan base.
It's so confusing. I guess I've got so many more questions about the Red Sox, which this is not a Red Sox podcast, but
yeah, what are they thinking this rest of the season looks like for them?
Well, they have a ton of top end prospects that have been banging on the door of AAA to move to the Major League club, and they just called up Roman Anthony last week. They have others that are ready to come up. I'm not familiar with each of them, but they think they're ready. I almost think they can't think they're better off without Devers, other than just being a clubhouse cancer.
Yeah.
It's confusing. I guess the other big question is what do you think Alex Bregman is thinking right now? Or what do you think the Red Sox are thinking with Alex Bregman? They've signed him to a 3-year deal, but he has opt-outs after every year. Are they gonna put him on the market too? He's hurt right now, so they've had somebody else at third base this whole time.
Right.
So, or for a few weeks at least. And it was a significant, I believe, a quad injury, quad strain.
Yeah.
Not out for the season by any means, but he's also on my fantasy team, so I'm a bit familiar with this. But he was also having a tremendous year. Now that they've made this move, are they just pulling the plug on all of that shit? Is Bregman going to be available? And that's interesting to me, at least, because my Tigers were in the final stages of the Alex Bregman sweepstakes, where he, even to the final day before he did eventually sign with the Red Sox, everyone thought he was going to go to the Tigers, and it was revealed Tigers gave him the best offer, or at least the most money in the most years, $171 million over 6 years. But he took the outrageous annual average value contract from the Red Sox instead at the last second. So I'm wondering if that means that Bregman could be potentially on the table at the trade deadline. That's a little bit longer timeline because he is injured right now. So I don't know who would be trading for him at this point. You'd need to see him on the field at least to make sure that's all going to be squared away. But that's immediately where my mind turned when I heard about this. Like, are they just blowing everything up? Even though Red Sox are I think they're 6 games out of first, but they just swept the Yankees. They're in 4th place. They're still behind the Rays and Blue Jays. So I don't know if they're pulling the plug or if this is like a strategic thing where they think they can compete without Devers.
Well, I guess we'll find out in the upcoming months.
Well, is that all you've got for Devers? Because we can, since we're talking about my Tigers, I'm happy to talk about them now.
I thought you were working the perfect transition right there.
Yeah, I was, but I didn't want to completely cut you off because it's such a momentous day for you. You've got your Giants hat on over there. I'm surprised you didn't go full Giants. You went half Giants, half Sox. You got
the only
Sox
other
hockey jersey on over there.
The only other Giants thing I really have is a hoodie, and it's like 90 degrees here today, so I'm going to pass.
So you're just going to wear a hockey jersey instead?
No, it's
short sleeve. Okay,
it's the 83 jersey.
I couldn't see your forearms this whole time, so I thought you had the.
You know why?
That was a giveaway.
This is way too big for me. I bought it when I was a much larger individual.
That's what I was thinking. It reminds me of when you used to wear hockey jerseys to work every day.
Yeah. Some of the guns are being covered up because it's for a much larger person.
I see. Now I understand what's going on.
More like a Silent Bob type.
Okay, yeah. Well, the Tigers are top of mind as they remain the best team in baseball, although they had a rough weekend against the Reds of all teams.
Yeah, they did.
They won Friday night handily, but then things are going smoothly on Saturday with Jack Flaherty pitching, and he got I forget how many innings he had, just solid throwing strikes, and all of a sudden he just lost it. Ended up walking 5 guys, gave up a grand slam. He gave up another home run, eventually 7 earned runs just out of the blue. I have not heard that there's any injury to Flaherty. He just lost it, which might be more concerning. I don't know. What's seriously concerning is what happened on Sunday. And Tigers were up. They were going to their bullpen late, like they always do, and it always works out somehow. Will Vest came in, who has been their quasi de facto closer, even though nobody calls him a closer. He comes in at the highest of leverage situations, whether it's 4 outs to get or 3 outs or whatever. It's at the back end of the bullpen, and it's been lights out. And it was a disaster yesterday. There was also defensive issues that exacerbated things, but he eventually had to leave the game with apparently a pinky injury, which I haven't heard about that with a pitcher in a while. I'm actually kind of relieved to hear it's a pinky, because it was clear he needed to get out of the game because he was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't know what it was. And the first thing you think of is forearm strain, which leads to Tommy John, or who knows. But to hear it's a pinky injury, I guess I feel better about it. I don't think Tigers don't play tonight. They play tomorrow in Pittsburgh, or maybe against Pittsburgh. So we don't know the extent of it. That makes me think if it's a pinky, I bet you it's a blister, if anything, which makes me feel a little, if that's the case, it makes me feel, I haven't heard about too many pinky injuries that keep people out for a long time. So that's going to be one to watch. But while we're talking about Tigers injuries, probably the day after we recorded our previous episode, they announced that rookie starter and former top prospect in baseball, Jackson Jobe, will indeed have Tommy John surgery, which is such a huge, huge bummer. You hear this in June. That's 12 to 18 months to recover from. So at the earliest, it'd be next middle of next season. Most likely, he's also going to miss next season completely. So we're losing for 2025, 2026. He should be available for 2027. Oh, but we're going to have a fucking lockout in 2027, most likely, the way things are trending. So we might not see Jackson Jobe until 2028, which is just horrifying to think about. It's so sad. But in the immediate term, it makes you wonder what the Tigers are going to do to maintain their seemingly insurmountable lead in the AL Central. They actually lost 2 out of 3 this weekend and gained ground in the division standings because the entire division got swept. Your White Sox, the Twins, Guardians, and the Royals all got swept in their respective series. So it's kind of amazing. The Tigers could have their first shitty series at home in quite a while, and they actually gained ground in the division. So, while we're talking about trades, if your Giants and Red Sox are going to make a deal in mid-June, why can't the Tigers? Top of mind is certainly bullpen help. That's every contending team needs bullpen help. I feel it's a little bit too early to talk about the hundreds of potential candidates from different teams that could be in in the bullpen trade market. I'd like to look at starting pitching because I think that's something the Tigers are definitely going to want to bolster, along with the Cubs, who I'll get to here in a second. But I think the most interesting rumor I've heard, and a lot of people are talking about it now, and it's gaining traction because the Atlanta Braves have been such a disaster this year, kind of out of the blue, is the idea that Chris Sale could be on the market. 36-year-old. He's got an ERA this year still below 3. He's reigning National League Cy Young Award winner. He's got 1 year after this left. It's a team option in 2026 for only $18 million. So I think everybody's going to be going to be calling up the Braves since they are, I think they're 8 games out of the final wild card slot in the NL. They've been better of late, but it's such a huge hill to climb. I think that's the potential like key trade target for any team in contention looking for starting pitching. The funny part, I guess, would be if the Cubs are also 100% going to be in that starting pitching trade market, as Jed Hoyer has stated bluntly, even last week. He's not shy about talking about what they're looking for at the trade deadline. They're going for starting pitching. I'm sure they will take a reliever as well to bolster the bullpen. But I can imagine how. I mean, I guess it's not ironic, but how interesting that would be if Chris Sale ended up being with the Cubs this year. I think that'd be highly entertaining. I'd be in favor of him going to either team of my teams. I'd prefer him to go to the Tigers because that is my number 1 team. But I don't know. Have you heard anything about Chris Sale or other trade rumors, at least on the starting pitching side?
Not at this juncture. It's pretty just early, I did read an article though that the Braves would obviously have several pieces if things continue that people would be interested in, and they would probably be very active at the trade deadline if they can't get into some, within what they feel is a window to catch someone after the All-Star break. If they don't do it before the All-Star break, you never know.
Well, that's the thing. I would never know until yesterday, and all of a sudden, like the biggest deal I can imagine happened. So
So regarding Chris Sale going to either one of the teams, I just have bad news. I heard he does not like the Tiger City Connect jersey, so there could be a big some scissors and a disaster.
As long as we hide all the scissors.
It might be better he goes to the Cubs. I haven't heard any complaints about the Cubs jerseys, so
Okay, yeah, they got rid of their dark Wrigleyville jerseys, so maybe he's a bigger fan of the Blues, whatever, the Electric Blues they just debuted this year. So that's what it comes down to, because we know he cares about what he wears.
So. He does. Yeah, I mean, I think I can't think of any other like disgruntled players other than the trade we're going to get to in a few minutes with the White Sox. But it seems if you're unhappy and you let someone know, they're just going to go ahead and move you. So
it doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah, so I guess that is something to be on the lookout for. I haven't really heard of anyone else really complaining about their position. I think one of the big pitching pieces that got moved out of the trade talk is Alcantara, because his ERA is like in the 8s.
He's had at least his last 2 starts have been really good, but his season has been horrific. So the people are going to be watching him his every single start, because it's just been these 2. I think he gave up two earned runs over 2 starts and had 6+ innings in each. So that's what you're looking for, but he hasn't shown that up until this point. So
I mean, I think one of them was against the Rockies. So
that's another mitigating factor too. So that was a name Sandy Alcantara was brought up in the off season a lot as a potential trade target, just because you knew the Marlins are going to be shit and they were going to be ready to move him. But he has not presented himself in a way that will put him in a favorable position on the market. So I think literally I might start watching Sandy Alcantara starts from here on out to see if he can continue that, because that might be the other big name that could could go to either the Tigers or the Cubs.
Yeah, and the question is, even if he does continue it, are you able to, like, you know, the value might, the value may not be there, so you don't even have to give up as much.
Oh yeah, I mean that is definitely helping the return, or at least from a buyer's side. So,
and then you wonder what the Marlins are going to do. Like, it doesn't hurt him to keep him another year because he's under contract, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I don't know his exact status,
but yeah, I haven't really, like, there's not been a lot of, a ton of talk yet about trades, but I imagine most of the major outlets, because to your point, what happened yesterday, are going to start speculating on trades that are going to happen.
And we're starting tonight. I'm titling this something about, trade mania, gigantic trades.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're jumping in on this soon. So that's all we're going to hear about for the next several weeks, like what the next big deals are. A big deal happened on the south side of Chicago this week, which I was not prepared for, but I don't know about you.
I was shocked, seeing as I think we all remember this. I think Rick Hahn once said, and we got to bring Rick up again, he's everywhere. Of
course.
Rick Hahn said that one Andrew Vaughn was untouchable. He was untouchable. You can't trade this guy, basically, because he picked him in as the third overall pick,
number 3 overall in 2019.
But under the new front office and White Sox management team on the field, Will Venable and his crew, they felt the need to, it's like, you got to go down and figure your shit out. And the Sox have had a couple of unexpected injuries to pitchers. One was the veteran guy they brought in. God damn it, I had his name in my head a second ago.
Shit, I don't have it either. It's all right.
Martin Perez. Perez. He went on the 60-day IL. He's probably done for the season. Then Jonathan Cannon went on the 15 IL.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
And so they were short on pitching. Enter a disgruntled Aaron Civale, who Cubs fans may know because his best years were with the Reds, where he had some really outstanding seasons, like ERAs in the low 2s and stuff like that, and was a really solid pitcher. He's had some struggles since the Brewers have taken on him as a player, and he was relegated to the bullpen and basically said, I'm not going to stay in the bullpen. I want to trade. Well, one day later, boom, it happened again.
Yeah, front offices aren't fucking around anymore.
Yeah, they're like, oh, you want to trade? Sure, we'll trade you.
I can see it from his side. He is a free agent to be next year. He needs to be showcasing his abilities as a starting pitcher. He does not want to hit the free agent market as a reliever. So you could see where he's coming from. But for it to happen within one day of him saying that, there may be more going on than we're aware of. But it's pretty shocking.
Yeah, it was shocked. The speed of it, to your point, Smitty. Yeah. Like, I was just like, this guy just bitched about it like yesterday. I mean, I'm sure it was a little longer than that, but it was like he came out publicly with it, because they must have said, like, hey, we're thinking about your, working out of the bullpen. And he's like, well, let me, I agree to do it, but let's see how it goes. And then I'd like to get back to a starting position. And then,
they called up like one of their top pitching prospects and to replace him in the rotation. So the writing was on the wall. He knew what was going on, but he was not having it. And now he gets the privilege of moving to the south side of Chicago.
And he pitched 5 innings of 2-run baseball the other day for the White Sox. So wow. Not a bad start. Probably. I mean, shit. They can keep them having starts like that. We got some more good veteran trade pitchers to trade. I mean,
exactly. That's why the only reason you would give up Andrew Vaughn is to hopefully turn Civale into something by the deadline, I would think. So,
I mean, they've picked up Adrian Hauser, who's 2-2 with a 2.12 ERA since he was dropped from Texas's AAA team. He opted out of his contract to go pitch in the majors. So they've added, and that was the whole idea of getting Martin Perez too. But they've added some nice veteran pieces so far that could be, they're not going to get, huge returns on them unless they continue to like pitch crazy good. But
yeah, we need a lot of quality starts out of them. But
yeah, but I mean, it was, I think it was a trade that needed to take place to move on from Vaughn, because he never really has lived up to the billing with the White Sox. He almost reminds me of Gordon Beckham, came up.
A lot of
hype, came out of the gates very like, okay, this guy is going to live up to the hype. And then I think he just sort of like knew it and never could probably get out of his own head. So possibly moving to the Brewers could be a nice fresh start for him. And maybe he can untap that potential of, how well he played in college and in the College World Series. But
he was down to AAA and he'd been demoted.
Yeah, that's where they traded him out of AAA.
Yeah, so I don't even know if he's going to be on the Brewers roster because they have Rhys Hoskins at first. I think they have like redundancy almost in the corner. So, yeah, I don't know what the future holds for Vaughn, but it's, like you said, he was a number 3 pick overall. We compared him over the years, and I've heard other people make the comparison to Spencer Torkelson from the Tigers. They both went to Arizona State as part of it, but they both got picked early, kind of similar makeups. And Torkelson had pretty much failed except for one half of a season a couple of years ago until this season, where he's clearly on pace to be an all-star. I think he's got 16 plus home runs. Also on my fantasy team, by the way. But yeah, that's literally where the comparisons end. It was how things turned out this season for each of them. So yeah, I didn't think it would end this way with Vaughn, I guess. I thought he'd figure it out eventually, but now he's going to Milwaukee.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny too, because it's another example of Vaughn was untouchable, but when that statement was made, they probably could have got decent players for him.
Yeah, that's part of the Wrath of Han legacy.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the Sox have had they do not play well away from home. They're only 2 games under 500 at home, but they've only won 6 games, I think it is, on the road this year. So, they went on a road trip where 3 of the games they lost were by 1 run. Sounds like all my teams are 1-run teams. And then
yeah, except the Giants win those games.
Yeah, exactly. That's the difference. And then fine line. And then Texas has been playing a lot better. You know, it's the old hawk. It's not who they are, it's when you play them or whatever.
Yep. It's not who you play, it's when you play.
It's not who, yeah. So
drop it down.
Anyway, they're coming back
home.
They got the Cardinals coming in. So I'm looking forward to probably hoping for a couple wins over the Cardinals. And
yeah, do Cubs a favor.
Yeah, and
do something over there.
Maybe the Diamondbacks after that or something. So that'll be a little tougher, but
knock them completely out of the race, so they'll be on the trade market, dumping players left and right. The Tigers need Eugenio Suarez back. Be a perfect third baseman for him. Yeah, do some work this week, Sox. That could help all of us.
Yeah, do it now. But of course, what would a Sox segment be without a mention of the Pope, right, Smitty?
Yeah, I mean, as always, your White Sox are endlessly entertaining and fascinating. And most of the time, these days at least, the most entertaining things happen off the field with your White Sox. And of course, the Pope, you just can't stop the Pope. I mean, the Pope is going to obliterate everything. He again... I didn't fully understand what was going on this weekend, so maybe you can explain what's going on with the Pope.
Well, here's I get this alert, and we're like in the midst of both. Like, I get an alert about the Pope, send it to Smitty, then we're both sending each other texts about different aesthetic segments, and Smitty finds this whole thing about the Pope went out to just do like not like a real like super like big like scheduled like visit sort of thing with the people, but he steps out on like at the Vatican to like say hi to some people who are like hanging out, wanting to see him, and he comes out donning the White Sox cap.
Instead of the papal, whatever the cap is called, yeah, he's wearing a fucking White Sox cap. And I when I saw it, the first thing I thought, I'm like, this is just photoshopped. Somebody
That's what
like
I did too.
Making something up. It was almost like, of course, you'd have a brand new Sox hat, so it looked very pristine. But that's what kind of made me think this could be photoshopped. And it's like, well, it reminded me of when The Onion put the Pope in a Chicago dog costume. To me, Chicago style Pope. So yeah, I was first cynical. That's always my nature, but apparently he really was wearing a fucking Pope or Sox cap, greeting gleeful followers.
Yeah, he's out there. I mean, the interesting thing about this, you think about like celebrities and people wearing like, different baseball caps or whatever, but it's kind of, I don't care, but it is kind of crazy. Like, I wonder how many, and I'm going to go back to like the world of hip hop, like when Ice Cube and Dre popped up with the Sox cap. Wonder how many Catholics ran out across the country and bought Sox caps because the Pope was wearing them. I mean, if you don't really have an affiliation with a baseball team, like you're a casual watcher and you're a super Catholic and you see the Pope with it, I mean, how much luckier could frickin' Reinsdorf be in regards to merchandise sales?
Yeah, getting the brand awareness.
Yes.
He's now in the Vatican.
Yes.
That's priceless.
It is priceless. And somehow because of the black and white of the hat, it went okay with the Pontiff's outfit,
Oh, it
was
looked
all
fine.
good. It looked fine. It fit right in. It blended perfectly.
Well, I hate the White Sox, but I do love your uniforms since they changed them in 1990 or 91, whenever that was. There was a whole
91,
documentary about it that we chronicled on an aesthetics segment. So I think it's another athletic article that I sent you that talks about how that hat and that uniform has been prominently on display for 35 years now almost. In pop culture, and they ranked how prominent each of those was. So the first one, I sent you the list. The first one I didn't know anything about, so maybe you can enlighten me.
Yeah, so they went ahead and they asked the staff to vote on 5 particular instances or people. And number 5, Billie Eilish came in. She was performing on SNL. I do remember this, and I was like, "Holy shit! Is she wearing a?"
Is she from Chicago?
No, she's from. I think she's from California.
What was there an explanation? Why was she wearing a Sox cap? It's just cool.
She had it wasn't a Sox cap. She was wearing the home Jake Peavy jersey.
Oh, that's right.
And Peavy's he's out of baseball at this point. But for some reason, I don't know. I never heard an explanation, and they don't even give it here. They don't give it here. I think he was just a Jake Peavy fan from back in the day.
You need to do some hardball deep throw to get down to the bottom of this. Why was she wearing a Jake Peavy Sox jersey on this?
Yeah, SNL. That got number 5. I don't disagree. Out of what's listed here, that would be 5. Peavy was quoted as saying, "Huge street cred, all the street cred with the younger crowd." Okay. Right. Coming to number 4, questionable at number 4, but the president of the United States, pretty big figure,
Barack Obama,
probably covered worldwide that he was out throwing out the first pitch at an All-Star game, wore his White Sox cap out there to throw out the first pitch.
Is he the second most famous White Sox fan? Or, I mean, the Pope, is the Pope more famous than the president? Or is the president of the free world higher Q rating than the Pope?
Right.
I don't know how you measure that.
I mean, I think if you took it as the Pope is in charge of a organization that is worldwide, where the president is in charge of 50 states.
Yeah, but
but he has a worldwide presence, no doubt about it.
We kind of have a worldwide presence. So for better or worse, but
I would not put it at 4.
I think the big difference is he never came out to make a presidential press conference wearing a Sox cap.
That's right. He did
much
not.
Like what the Pope just did.
So. What a jerk. Number 3, Dr. Dre in Nothing But a J Thing video.
In terms of its cultural relevance, yes, I could see that, but it just seems like it should be behind the Pope and the president.
And the president, yes.
Yeah, but it did change the fashion world.
And it did, as we saw in that documentary, it made the hats sell out everywhere.
Yeah, they couldn't keep them in stock.
I remember the one story from that was Reinsdorf. He had traveled with the team to I think it was Texas or something, and went to buy a hat, and they're like, "We don't have any. We're sold out." And he's like, "What?" Okay. Number 2, I think, is lame. I would probably put this one at number 4. Michael Jordan, while he was playing baseball.
Oh,
well,
he had to wear a Sox cap.
He had to fucking wear a Sox cap.
He's also the most famous athlete ever, maybe besides Muhammad Ali. So that is a tremendous Q rating that still goes on to this day. So yeah, that's less of a, that was part of his job uniform.
Yeah.
Rather than making a fashion statement. But
yeah. I don't think I ever saw him wear a White Sox cap again. So
yeah, true.
And then of course, number 1 was the Pope. So yeah. In my opinion, I think the list should go Billie Eilish.
I wouldn't put that on the list.
But. Michael Jordan. Yeah, I don't know that I'd put it on the list either because it wasn't a cap. This is more about the hat.
Come on, athletic.
I'd leave Dre at 3, and I move Obama and the Pope as a toss-up for 1.
I think that makes more sense.
But yeah,
let them fight it out in battle royale.
It's bizarre, and I hope this is probably close to the last time. But I feel like it's not, because I'm going to be at the stadium next weekend. Because the week, not this upcoming weekend, but the following weekend, like the weekend of the 27th, and I've got to take a selfie with the Pope.
The Pope mural.
The Pope mural, and
because you already got a picture with the Pope.
Yeah,
the drunk Pope.
The Pope was there. He was feeling good, but. Yeah, but I really hope the sensationalism of the fucking Pope and the White Sox slowly dies off. The mass happened on Saturday.
I wanted to ask you about that. I was kind of alluding to that earlier, but what was that? What did they just put him on the Jumbotron, or what was going on?
Yeah,
he wasn't there.
No. It was like a celebration that the Chicago, the Catholic Church of Chicago is the first. North American Pope. And because he's a Sox fan, I wouldn't refuse it if I was going to be able to jam 40,000 people in for some ridiculous event at my stadium.
Did he record a statement, or what was it?
You know what?
You don't know.
No, it was really like a Chicago Catholic holiday almost.
Right, but was he literally talking to the crowd?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, I think it was just a mass, and he may have recorded a special message.
Okay.
But when I saw the coverage on Channel 9 News on Monday morning, which was today. Oh my God, what day is it?
Today is Monday.
Maybe it was yesterday then. Maybe I turned it on yesterday and they covered it, but there wasn't they didn't say he had recorded they didn't show him speaking on the Jumbotron.
If he was, they would have shown that if that was part of it. So they just did a mass at Sox Park just to celebrate the Pope being a Sox fan.
Yeah,
no. Once again, this isn't going to be the end of the Pope shit, or at least something else ridiculous will happen with the White Sox, where we'll have to bring up whatever's happening off the field with them, because that's just what you guys do, and why I find you endlessly fascinating.
We are endlessly fascinating. I'm glad you finally fucking realize it.
Well, unless you have any other Pope tidbits or anything else about baseball we should talk about today.
I'm exhausted on the Pope. I guess it's
you ran out of steam there. Boy, that really was taxing for you, apparently.
I guess it's just continuing on the aesthetics with these Nike shoes, right?
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, I completely forgot. And I hadn't seen these until you pointed this out. So, let's drag this aesthetic segment out even longer if you'd like to Talk about. I'm still confused what you were even showing me.
Okay, so Nike, you know, the City Connect is obviously, as we talked about, has obviously become a cash cow for Nike and Major League Baseball. Mm-hmm. So now they've taken it a step further. So there is a special, like, just speaking from a Chicago point of view, there is a special, like, pair of Air Jordans with, like, City Connect stuff on it, like sort of the classic looking Jordans. But I think you can only like win those, and they were only passed out to the team. So that's not available. So what Nike decided to do was take one of their running shoes, the Air Max Zoom, or the Air Max 270, excuse me. I don't want to give out the wrong information to the public. For $170, any team this year that got the new City Connect jerseys, the 2.0s, they made a shoe for.
Shoe. Okay.
Yeah. They made
$170, is that what you said?
Yeah, for a pair of
my God.
Air Max 270s.
So these aren't baseball cleats. These are just running fashion shoes, yeah. Running shoes. Okay.
Yeah. Now the White Sox one, when you look deeper at it, it's the red and black colors. Most of the shoes red with like a black accent that runs across the heel. On the inside of the shoe, in the sole, is that south side, those two socks, the two white socks with cross that south socks. Side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Which they have as the like alternate merchandise for the new City Connect.
You've probably loaded up on since.
And then I have not. But on the back, which is making it very tempting for me to buy it, it has my favorite Flying White Sox. The White Sox with the wing is on it's on the heel of the shoe. So
that was going to be my question. Are you purchasing these shoes? Have they compelled you? Has Nike drawn you into the point where you have to buy these shoes?
Nike has made it somewhat compelling.
Wow, $170.
Some of the accents.
I've never spent $170 on shoes. I wear fucking flip flops and skateboard shoes mostly, so I'm not a fashion aficionado. So I
mostly buy $170 shoes when they get marked down 50% or 60%. I'm more of a
you're a shoe guy though.
But I normally buy them on sale. So
okay.
And I do have like a decent amount of, like, I have Nike skate, like you have Nike skate shoes, 2 pairs of Adidas skate shoes, but
I just got into Adidas skate shoes.
They're so comfortable.
Oh my God, I'm not going back. It's all Adidas now. I was doing Etnies for a while. Never did Nike skate, but confession here, I never liked Nike shoes that much. I never got into Air Jordans. I just never was. I was a Converse guy because Magic Johnson was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I just never got on the Nike train, I guess. But so they did what, eight different shoes? Are any of them worth talking about? Or
they're all kind of the same. It's all like
it's just a cash grab.
Just a cash grab. It brings on elements of the jersey. I'm frantically looking. I just lost the link with all the different shoes. That's all right. What my problem is right here. But
I think the key is you got your sock shoes in there.
At the end of the day, it's just Nike.
What about the Giants? Giants did a City. Did you even look at those? Their graffiti.
But
that's all right.
I don't fucking remember, folks. I don't even remember if it was Monday today. Yeah, what do you want from me? Here we go.
You have a long weekend?
Oh, I have. The Giants ones are actually fucking dope. They're all black with an orange accent.
Yeah, I was wondering if they would do black.
They've got the Giants in like the graffiti logo on the inside of the shoe. And then
you spend $170 on these Giants City Connect shoes.
Oh, and then they got the logo on the back is the one logo you and I both really liked, which was like the playoff of the Haight-Ashbury.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. There you go.
They're tugging.
They're pulling you.
Here's the question. So when I go to the game, this is a double bonus game for me on the 28th. It's the Sox against the Giants.
Wow. I forgot about that.
Do I get both pairs of shoes and wear one of each? And then take 2 older jerseys and sew them together.
Don't do that. Don't do this.
I'm doing it, man. No, I'm not. I hate that shit. I hate that shit. That's a bad luck,
The shoe idea is interesting.
It's real.
If you're going to buy both pairs, why not wear one of each? You don't see people do that very often.
I can assure you right now, I am not about to do a $340 order from Nike before shipping and tax.
They have those logos that you like.
Yeah, I might get a T-shirt. I could get 2 T-shirts for probably $50 with those logos on them.
Actually, that's probably $100 right there for 2 T-shirts these days. But fortunately, the Tigers, they didn't even do a new City Connect this year, so they're not on the docket. And I didn't really like their current City Connects anyway. So, but if they do this next year, we can ask the question if I would buy their shoes if they do something cool. But probably not.
Probably not.
Well, I think with that, we can wrap up this emergency trade edition of Major League A-Holes, episode 170, unless there's any other shit Pete forgot. It sounds like you've had a long, tough weekend, or you're starting your recovery on a Monday.
Yeah, I'm just drinking water here, folks. I mean, it's a rarity when I don't have a cocktail on this podcast. But
gotta hydrate.
What day is it?
Well, you can catch us on... Wow, is my phone ringing?
Whoa, the bat phone's going off.
You can catch us on social media at Major League A-Holes. Pete's over there on X at SoxTypeThing. You can catch us on the web at MajorLeagueAholes.com. You can find us on YouTube. Check out our YouTube page. It is at youtube.com/Major League A-Holes. And you can find this podcast anywhere you'd like to find a podcast. So with that, I'm going to declare this podcast is over. Peace.
Peace.
Wordhole Media.